Welcome to Horror Geekdom, the dungeon where we geek out on all things horror, thriller, mystery, and suspense. And welcome to episode 3. And I was supposed to put like a podcast out last weekend, but when I sat down and got all my notes together and everything and sat down to actually do the deed, my microphone, I don't know if it was my microphone or my audio interface or something like that, but I tried everything. I tried, uninstalling, reinstalling. Yes, I tried turning my computer off and on again to see if that fixed it, and just nothing was working. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll put this away and I'll come back to it tomorrow. And, just kind of, approach the problem with a, new set of eyes. So, I, went to bed and woke up the next day and came to my computer and all of a sudden everything worked. I didn't do anything to it. It just all of a sudden worked all of a sudden. So, it's like, I don't. So I think the dungeon is haunted by a helpful ghost. So, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? You see these hauntings and stuff like that, these videos on YouTube, or, poltergeist and ghosts and everything, throwing shit around and just messing the place up. Well, for once, I want to see a ghost that actually cleans the place and fixes things. That impresses me. All right? I mean, hell, if a ghost is haunting a house, you're not paying rent. Just at least pitch in to clean the place up. Wouldn't that be something? You go to bed one night and you wake up and you find that all your laundry is done and folded and put away. That'll be epic. I mean, that's what I want to see. So yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what. So by the time it actually fixed itself, I already had. The week had already started on me and had things to do and things to take care of and crap like that. So I was like, well, it's too late for me to, because I knew I wouldn't have time to actually edit the show and get anything ready to put out there. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I won't touch anything. I'll leave it exactly the way it is. Don't do any updates, no upgrades. And I'll just for this weekend, and I think this weekend was a good weekend to put an episode out because hey, we are halfway to Halloween. Yes, yeah. Now, I mean, if you subscribe to what Ministry says, every day is Halloween, but there's that one day in the year in October we just celebrate the Halloween season, and so we're halfway there. Also, this weekend, Saturday was World Goth Day. Yes. So I'd like to say a big shout out to all my goth listeners out there, and celebrating our inner dark hearts and celebrating all things dead and macabre. So yeah, we have our own day. And the cool thing about this year was a lot of the celebrations were done virtually online. A lot of my DJ friends were doing these sets for, like, my goodness, for the entire day, I think. They would do for a full 24 hours or so. You have all these goth DJs playing the best of goth and EBM and dark wave, and I just eat that stuff up. So that was a cool thing, because I know in previous years before the whole pandemic thing hit, we would have at least our local goth group here in the Carolinas. We would have a picnic, and and I don't know how the weather is in your neck of the woods. But usually this time of year, it's creeping up into the high 80s, low 90s. So, you have a picnic out, and you just imagine a bunch of goth people just all dressed up in black in 90-degree weather, sitting around, talking about their favorite music, their favorite do-it-yourself wardrobe stuffs, and what they made for that event, and and we're all kind of like sheltered underneath the shelter in the picnic area, where so we're at least staying out of the sun. But it was those days are fun. But for those of us who not very mobile, and especially with the whole, if you haven't gotten fully vaccinated yet, it was fun to be able to join in on the fun from DJs and talents and artists from around the world, playing all the best in Gothic music. And also, I want to give a big thank you and kudos to all of you who really ate that last episode up, interview with David Howard Thornton and Damien Leone. My God, I mean, not so much the podcast, but the video of the interview on YouTube. My goodness, and big thanks to Damien and David for making time out for that, being interviewed by little old me, and and Damien for sharing the video out on his social media stuff. So I think that was the big catalyst behind getting damn near 500 views just in the first week. It was like, my goodness, it's like every time I refreshed my analytics, the number of views went up, and the number of likes went up. So thank you to all of you and all my new subscribers there on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and I hope you stick around, and let me know how I'm doing. So a big thank you to all of you. Now, this episode is going to be a review. I guess it would be a review, and I approached this two ways. I know I wanted to do a review of what I think to be is the best zombie movie I think to date ever made, and but when every time I would recommend or ask people, hey, have you seen this movie? I found that quite a few people haven't. And so it's like, well, do I really want to go through a whole review? Because I've listened to other podcasts where they talk about a movie, and they just go through the entire movie, plot point by plot point, and describe everything that's going on, and what happens, and including the spoilers. So it was like, well, do I really want to talk about every single thing that happened in this movie and every single thing that I liked about this movie and why I think it's so great, possibly spoil a lot of the fun of the people I've recommended this movie to listen to the podcast, to spoil those surprises and those twist points and all the things that I enjoyed experiencing for the first time while watching the movie. So it's like, well, okay, so at first I recorded a thing where I just went through the whole movie, point by point, and after listening to it, it's like, you know what, I just and more thoughts. I decided not to do it that way. So this, in a sense, review of the movie is going to be just, what I thought about it, how that movie made me feel, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, maybe like the high points or the low point of what I thought that movie was, and why I like it, and why I would recommend that movie to other people, and also who would this movie appeal to, because this whole zombie lore has been done to death. It's been bled dry, and we all know that zombies don't have much blood in them anyway. That's why they have to eat all these brains. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna do this. Just short and sweet, and and again, as I said in an earlier episode, I think my first episode, where the movies that I talk about on the podcast are movies. Foregone conclusion: it is movies that I enjoy, that I really, really like, that I have seen numerous times over and over again for the simple fact that I enjoy them. And then the YouTube channel, the movie reviews there is going to be more of a movies that are new to me that I have not seen before, and will be given my first impressions, in a sense, review of my first time seeing that particular movie. So this episode, I'm talking to what I think to be is the best zombie movie out there. And granted, you're going to have to read some subtitles because this movie is from South Korea. A lot of good movies coming out from South Korea. And a few other, Spain is putting out quite a few really good quality stuff. But a lot of people miss those movies because they either don't want to read subtitles, or the audio dubbing of them are so just downright shitty that it takes you out of the film. But this movie here, if you could accept the fact that you're gonna have to read subtitles, it is definitely something you need to check out. And that movie is Train to Busan. Let's see, it came out in 2016. It's clocked at 118 minutes, and I'm sure I'm gonna really butcher out these names here, but I'll do my best. Cause hey, what do you expect? I'm a dumb American. America. I'm just gonna phonetically try to sound these names out. So whatever. But it's directed by Yeon Sang-ho. And it stars Gong, Dong-seok, Young Yumi, and Kwai Woo-shik. I'm sure I really butchered those names out, but my apologies. I don't speak Korean, so yeah. But basically, Train to Busan is basically you're seeing. Most of the movie you're seeing through one particular character, a father who is separated from his wife, and their little daughter wants to go visit her mom in Busan. And there's the beginning of the movie, they're just kind of bickering back, not so much bickering, but you know, the daughter wants to go by herself on the train. She keeps telling Dad that, you know, she's old enough to go on her own. The dad is a typical dad of in some of these dynamics where, you know, one of the reasons why that they're separated, and I can't remember. I think they're just separated right now. I don't think they actually pinpointed that they were divorced, but they were separated, and one of the reasons that they are is because the father is basically married to his job. Yeah, he spends all this time at his job. At the beginning of the movie, he winds up missing the little girl's recital, and he even has to ask. It's her birthday the following day. At the time that this events in this movie take place. And she wants to take the train to Busan to spend her birthday with Mom. And Dad is like, no, she can't. Why can't we go next week? We could do that then. I'll have more time later. And the little girl is like, no, you keep promising, but you lie to me. I mean, the little girl, I don't know how old she is, but she's pretty young, like preteen. I'd say maybe like, I wouldn't say more than 10 years old. And she really, she carries that movie really, really well. I know it's when you get any movie with children in it, it's sort of like a crapshoot whether they're believable or not. But this little girl just hit it out of the park. with her acting. And so she calls bullshit on her dad, saying, "No, you keep promising to be there, and you never are, and you keep lying to me about your promises." And he had missed her recital, and basically his mom, who took her to the recital, was videotaping it, and so he basically saw her recital through the little screen on the camera. That's as at the beginning of the movie. That's as close as is to his daughter. And he even asked his coworker, "What are children into nowadays?" So he's so removed from his daughter, he doesn't even know what she likes. So he knows what to get her for her birthday. And so evidently his coworker tells him to get a Wii. So when he comes home and he's trying to kind of negotiate with his daughter, and just basically telling her, look, we could go visit mom for your birthday next week. I'll have more time then. So he takes out the present that he got her, and he gives it to her, and she opens it up, and she sees the Wii there, and she's not very happy, and his dad, her dad is like, "Well, why? What do you think about it? Don't you like it?" And she looks over to the TV, and the camera pans over, and there's a Wii sitting right there on the TV stand. And evidently, he had gotten her a Wii for like Child's Day that same year, and he didn't even remember. So the right off the bat, we have the main character is this busy father, and separated from his wife. His wife's in Busan, and he ultimately decides, okay, I will go to Busan so you could spend your birthday with mom, but I'm going with you on the train. You're not going on the train by yourself. So you're basically following the movie through his eyes. So you have that plot line, and you're basically following at least 4 plot lines of characters throughout the movie. So you have the father and daughter. Then you have this gentleman and his pregnant wife on the train. Then you have there's I guess a Korean baseball team that is traveling all together on the train. So you have the third plot line of one of the baseball players and his girlfriend, and then you have a businessman who is traveling alone. And there are a few side characters that they go a little bit into their relationships and what they're doing. But those are the 4 primary characters that or character arcs that you are following throughout this movie. Now and of course you have the zombies. Now these zombies are the fast-moving kind. Throughout the main part of the movie, and you really don't find out until the very end of the movie what all started it, what it is. Through the beginning of the movie and throughout, as far as the characters are aware of, there's just a bunch of riots that's breaking out, and people are like killing each other and stuff like that. But the news feeds and the government is basically telling people that you are safe. Trust your government. The military are coming in. They are going to take care of things. They have everything under control. Blah 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 blah. So these zombies transfer this virus by biting. If you get bit within a few 2 or 3 minutes, you turn and you're one of them. Now the special effects and blood and so forth are pretty good. A lot of the blood is kind of CGI, but the mannerisms and mimics of the zombies are really eerie. They evidently these actors who play the zombies evidently went through like zombie camp or something like that to be able to do their body motions and walking and twitching and jerking around and stuff like that. Just to make it really unsettling. And when these zombies get into a big, riot crowd, we're talking like Z World war zombies, So at aspects when it's in a big huge riot, you could tell that I'm sure that they had to CGI a lot of the zombies. But some interesting things about the zombies is if they cannot see somebody, it's like they ignore the prey. So if they can't see the victim or hear the victim, they totally ignore it, and that comes to our hero's advantage on this train because during certain parts of the trip, the train tracks go through tunnels. So that's how they find out that when if the zombies can't see, you could in a sense walk very quietly and slowly right past them, and they won't even notice you were there. So even though this is a zombie movie, this is also a very high action movie as well. It's almost like from the zombies get introduced at like the 20-minute mark, and then after that it is nothing but action sequence after action sequence, and there's a few breathers in between to progress the character arcs. So at its very foundation, it is a zombie movie, but it's one of those movies that really tugs at the heartstrings, and that falls directly on the direction and the acting. These actors are fantastic. Like I said, even a little girl, 10-year-old little girl, was just, tugging at your heartstrings when she was going through some of the stuff that she had to go through. And, when you felt sorry for people when they died, because they spent enough time establishing who they are and the relationship between each other, not only to their significant other or whoever their travel mates are, but also to other people around them in the cart. And there are people that most of the people you really want to see make it to the end of the movie. And there's at least two, one in particular that you just can't wait until that little son of a bitch dies. Because one of the human factors of this movie is you have people who are, sacrificing. You have people who are going out of their way to help other people and putting their lives in danger as a result. Then you have other people who are they're only looking out for themselves, even to sacrifice other people if they could live. And then you have one, like particularly in the father's case, his story arc. He starts out the movie as he's telling his little girl, don't look out for don't help other people. You have to look out for yourself. Really, and by the end of the movie, and the things that he's gone through and the things that he's seen, he damn near, he does a full 180 by the end of the movie. And this is where I people would say, they don't like movies with subtitles. I think in this particular case, it is vital that a movie like this keeps the subtitles, and they don't overdub it with like American actors or voice actors and stuff like that. Because really, when you're left with just the subtitles and you're getting the real acting and dialogue from the actors, and you're able to hear the inflection and the emotion and the excitement and the heartbreak and the crying and the desolation and the some characters are just flat out just give up halfway through. I really think you would not get that with the same hit if you would overdub it with English speaking actors. So I think for this movie, it was really vitally important that they keep the original dialogue, and for international audiences, just subtitle it. And for those of you who are not into zombie movies, give this one a try, because it has enough heart to it and human element to the story that carries the movie through. Think of it like Walking Dead. The zombies are more of a backdrop, and the characters, you're invested in the characters. And again, that has to do with the writing, directing, and particularly the acting, because when these characters die off, even the ones that you love, you really feel it. So, what is my favorite scene from the movie? Now, there's quite a few really good action scenes, but I think the one sequence that is my favorite takes up a pretty good chunk of the movie. I'd say the better part of the second half, basically of a situation where the people on the train are split up. Particularly where when you're talking about the four main plot points with those characters, a lot of them are separated from their significant other, or from the person that they're tied to emotionally. They're separated so basically you have there's a car. The car is near the front of the train, has some survivors in it. I think there are like 3 or 4 survivors that get through a variety of situations, because basically they stop in one city that they think is going to be safe. They've been told that the military has taken that city and secured it, and everybody was, once the train stops at that city, everybody is to exit the train and walk down to the main terminal. Well, that doesn't go the way it was planned. So as a result of certain events, I think 4 of the characters get isolated in one of the back cars of the train. And then there are 3 characters, including the father's daughter, and the one gentleman's pregnant wife. They're held up in one of the washrooms or bathrooms in between. So, and in between those 3 points along the train, you have carts that are just filled with zombies, because before the train even departed from its origin, somebody had somebody that was infected had was running away from whatever happened to her, and she jumps on the train just before the doors closed, and it started leaving. So that was that was what started that whole infection ball rolling. So my favorite sequence, and again, this particular sequence takes a better part of like a half hour or so to complete from beginning to end. So basically, these 4 survivors from the back of the train has to go through like 3 cars full of zombies just to get to the pregnant woman and the little girl who's hiding up in the bathroom, to get to them. And then they have to go through I think it's another two cars filled with zombies to get to where the majority of the survivors are near the front of the train. So the different ways and things that they have to do to navigate through all those cars to, number one, get the little girl and the pregnant wife, and then again through some more cars again, this time tugging the little girl and the pregnant wife with them to get to the front cars where all the survivors are. So that whole sequence is my favorite part of the movie, or one of my favorite parts of the movie. There's quite a few, but that one I think is the high point. What's the low point? What I don't like about the movie? I mean, technically, as far as how well the movie was done, I really don't have any things that I don't like about the movie, which is why it's one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. So who do I think this movie would be good for? There are people out there that don't like subtitles. I would encourage you to give this one a try. And there are other people out there that are sick and tired of zombies. Yeah, I feel you. I understand. I know where you're coming from. This is not your typical zombie movie. Again, we have the zombies, the fast-moving zombies. You get bit, you turn into one of them. Blah blah blah. The usual trope. But the fact that this movie has so much heart, the acting is phenomenal. You feel and identify with what these people are feeling and going through. Now, this movie was made before the whole pandemic and COVID thing, but I think in the past year and a half, with the whole COVID virus and people dying, I think at least I have seen what people are willing to do and what they're willing to sacrifice to live. And I don't want to get into a whole political bullshit thing, but the whole maskers and versus anti-maskers, vaccine people going to get vaccinated versus the anti-vaxxers, people ignoring all the guidelines from the CDC, thinking this whole virus thing is a hoax. And then when they find out that it's not a hoax, we found out really what a lot of our friends and family and people overall are made out of when shit hits the fan and a worldwide pandemic hits. And this movie examines the same thing. It's real easy to watch these movies and say, well, if I was in a situation like this, I would do this. You know what? You don't know. You have no idea how, if you were in a zombie situation like this, stranded on a train, barreling down the track, you have no idea what you would do. But this movie examines pretty much the whole gamut. There are people who are looking out for one another. There are, like I said, the father starts out looking out for number one, him, but by the end he's looking out for other people, and just the evolution of his character throughout this traumatic experience, how that changes him. And then there are other people who are willing to, send their mother, to the morgue just to survive. They don't care if their friends and family die, as long as they live. That's what they care about. And this movie examines all of those aspects. And I'm not going to tell you what happens in the end, but the ending is it's bittersweet. You're happy, but you realize the cost that these survivors have made, what these survivors have gone through. And, I could see how somebody that would go through something like this and survive at the very end, how they would have survivor's guilt. So in that respect, yay, it's happy that these particular characters still lived at the end of the movie, but at what cost? So that is my recommendation to you. If you haven't already checked it out, please check out Train to Busan. Now they have the sequel to it called Peninsula. I have not yet seen that. So I'm going to reserve my review of that movie for the YouTube channel because, like I said before, I'm reserving YouTube stuff for first impression reviews. So once I get to see Peninsula, I will put a video of my review up on YouTube channel. So if you want to go and make sure you subscribe there, there'll be links to all my social media stuff in the description. You go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. If you go to Apple's podcast and subscribe to the podcast, that will really help while you're there. Put out some of that 5-star loving and, reach out to me. This is my first movie review on the podcast without a guest. And unless somebody tells me to do it differently, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. Because if someone says, hey, try this, or it might be better to, if you do your review this way, I accept all constructive criticisms. But if you're going to come on and tell me, hey, your music sucks, well, tough shit. It's my podcast. I use what music I want. So there you go. And also, if you really enjoy what I do here at Horror Geekdom and you want to help me grow and improve and evolve into even a better podcast and YouTube video channel, I also have a Patreon page. The link on that will also be there. So I think I have like 3 or 4 different tiers. And whatever you're able to give, you get some cool, spooky perks as a result. And even if you can't, donate $1 or something like a month, hey, just share this podcast. Share this on your social media stuff. Spread the word. Invite your friends and others to the dungeon. Hey, the more the merrier. So that is it. Again, check out Train to Busan. I damn near guarantee you're not going to regret it, even if you have to read subtitles. So that's it. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for watching the Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton video. Again, keep those numbers coming up. That's really... I'm not looking for numbers, but, if I want to become relevant in the podcast and YouTube thing, you got to have numbers. So, but if you enjoy it, subscribe, spread the word, and give me some feedback. What kind of movies would you like to see reviewed on the podcast or on YouTube? If there's some way you would like me to do these reviews differently, maybe give you more information, less information, what kind of things would you like to know about the movie? Let me know about that too. Again, I take all constructive criticism to heart, and that's how you grow. There's always somebody that knows more, and that's how we get better and evolve into even a better podcast and YouTube channel. So that's all my gabbing. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.